I was always making something or doing something.
The CEO of Century Manufacturing began his journey to the top when he was only in the 9th grade.
There's the finished part, and there's the...
It all began around 1957, when Jim started looking for ways to keep his prize collection in mint condition.
Well, I started collecting coins probably when I was about 13, maybe.
In order to preserve them, Jim started making these coin holders using tools his grandfather had in his shop.
And what few tools he had, it was very difficult to make them. I was using hacksaws and files and stuff like that. It's a wonder I didn't kill myself.
These coin holders were made out of scrap plastic bought from airplane parts salvage. One day, when Jim was in a coin dealer's business, the dealer approached him with a rather interesting opportunity.
And he asked if I'd like to go into business because he'd seen these coin holders. And I thought, why would they ask a 14-year-old kid to do this?
That took place in 1958, while Jim was still in high school.
So grandmother loaned me $2,000.
And his company was launched.
I was just going into the 10th grade at that time. And as you can well imagine, I didn't care about going to school.
But his grandfather, who had never graduated himself, forced Jim to stay in school. But that didn't mean Jim was always at his desk.
Most kids would gyp to have fun. I gypped to work. And I'd have my grandmother call 2 or 3 times when I needed to get some stuff out and say I was sick so I could work. And like a big board like this was like $10 or $12. And at the time I was going to school, I was probably making more money than the teachers was.
Despite that, Jim still managed to get his diploma.
Well, I finally got out. I graduated from East High. They almost had to burn the building down to get me out, but I finally made it.
And he made something of his company, too.
One thing led to another, and it just kept adding one thing to it. And, quit making some stuff and start making something else, and to where we are today.
Where they are today is a multi-million-dollar company. When did you get your first really big customer?
Oh, probably in the 70s sometime, We was already in the lucite business. So.
That decision led this company to become one of the best in the world at manufacturing quality lucite. Over the years, Century Manufacturing has perfected its process so well that artists commission them to make pieces like this that sell for thousands of dollars. These sculptures are featured in Wyland galleries. Century Manufacturing also makes beer tabs. The company has also made products for groundbreakings, company milestones, and award ceremonies. This is the trophy they produced for the American Music Awards. This is the award they make for Nickelodeon. They've produced some rather unusual products through the years as well. What do you think is the craziest product that you've ever made?
Toilet seats.
Toilet seats with all kinds of objects embedded in them. They've even made a casket.
Well, this is where they start the process here. Like everything that's been printed or screened or whatever all comes in here, and then that's where they embed it inside of it here.
Although he's been extremely successful, the journey hasn't always been easy. There were a lot of tough times, too.
I think if you very rarely ever find somebody that's successful, it hasn't been down a number of times.
And when those times happened, Jim did whatever it took to keep his company afloat.
Sometimes I worked all night, and made stuff. I mean, there was a time probably in the 70s when I would work 80 to 100 hours a week. I would just keep going. I'd work at night, I'd work Sundays. I went home to eat, that's all I did. And, I knew I had to do it. And that's what I did.
Wow, that impresses me. Then, about 10 years later, his business hit another bump in the road.
I can remember in the early 80s that I had a lot of paychecks laying at home I couldn't cash because if I cashed them, well, the employee's check would bounce. So, you know, it was a lot of ups and downs, you know. So.
Wow, but you stuck with it.
Yeah, well, you know, there was a time I think probably I was too dumb to know I was broke, you know. So I just kept getting up every day and going down there, you know. This is a piece that has a whale coming out of it. It all, when it comes out, it's really rough looking. All these deals here has to be worked down and all is polished and sandblasted.
Jim says his toughest battle came in 2001.
9/11 knocked our business, our sales down by 40%. And it just, you know, I don't know how we made it through it. We did. I have looked back over it several times, and we just kept doing more things, and finally we got out of it. I had really no formal education in anything, you know, no financial background. Just by luck, whatever you want to call it, I made my way through it.
One thing Jim says helped him make his way through it was his decision to never give up.
Maybe today you don't have the answer. Maybe next week you come up with another answer, you know, and you keep going.
One of the answers he came up with has actually helped the entire community. When money got tight, rather than move his production to Mexico, Jim came up with a more creative idea. He decided to open up a plant inside the prison in El Dorado instead.
These people, we train them to do certain things, and they make money. We have to pay them over minimum wage. And the state actually ends up with part of their money as room and board after they go to work for us. So, and you know, if they have child support or victim restitution, they have to pay that. So, and the state makes them save a certain percent of their money.
Money they can live on after they're released.
If I ever had one, the money they had in the bank when they got out was $30,000. And so they have at least a chance when they get out. And we do have some working here. After they've got out, they've come to work for us on the outside.
I think it's a great idea because to me, you're benefiting and training somebody for a job that once they get out, now they have skills that might be employable in the workforce.
Some of the inmates we hire have never had a real job. They've never worked anywhere. Yeah, we'll cut it up and it'll be embedded. And this just pretty much disappears once it goes in.
One thing everyone who knows Jim agrees on is that he is one hard worker.
In the early years then, really, you were Mr. Everybody. You were the artist, you were the creator, you kind of did all the jobs then.
Yeah, I could run everything and do everything. And I was always worried that nobody else could do what I could do. And after I found out that other people could do things too, then I kind of got away from it. But today I work in production. I don't hang around the office at all. I'm not an office person, so. My thing is production, and that's where I'm going to stay. This is the way put in, lock the door up. We put it under pressure, about 125 or 30 pounds per square inch. We use nitrogen to pressurize it with.
This self-described workaholic says he plans to pass his business down to his longtime and faithful employees someday.
A lot of people that work for me have been with me a lot of years, and you know they've helped me make it. So, and well, I would walk across glass to help them if I could, you know.
Even when he does retire, you probably won't find him sitting in a rocking chair anywhere.
Retirement to me is working 8 hours a day, maybe, you know.
Through the ups, the downs, the successes, and the challenges, Jim has never forgotten where he came from, and he's thankful for everything life has brought him.
My dad was a farmer, and you know, I mean, it's really just come from just regular people. Yeah, I probably have done 10 times more than I ever thought I'd do in my life.
You know, you've had a lot of accomplishments. You've made a lot of things happen. Your products are all over. But what do you think is your greatest accomplishment?
Just surviving 50 years.
Actually, he's done more than just survive. He's managed to thrive. The thing that surprised me most during this interview was how humble he is.
I've often wondered, I've watched people that seem to be really smart and really nice people fail at everything they do. And I've often wondered why that I always come out of it. I never have figured that out. There's a lot I don't know. Yeah, there's a very lot I don't know. I'm not, like I say, I just come up through hard knocks and I'm just happy to be where I'm at.